Well, you know, keto, paleo, Mediterranean, there are all kinds of diets that have been popular over the years, but they all have a few things in common. The trick is to find a way of eating that actually lasts each and every day, 365, right? And make it a habit. Chef Daniel Green is the author of over a dozen cookbooks, and he has seen lots of diets come and go. And you're here to talk about really easy ways to really make it work and stick. Because we're, what, seventh day of the month, or seventh day of the year, and people are like, all right, I'm done with that.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, these New Year's resolutions, they set you up to fail because we can't stay on something we don't want to.
Right.
So why not find what could fit in your lifestyle? And I think today we kind of know what's good for us. You know, we've got the research. We know that low carb is good. Well, that eliminates sugar too. We know that good proteins, lots of protein, good fats. So just implement a few things and really see the difference that makes long term rather than changing everything and being on something that fails.
I think the biggest things that people have come up with is the fact that sugar is really, really bad for you, and sugar is in everything.
Yes.
And then also the fact that if you go ahead and try to do some fasting, that really does help as well.
It does. I mean, intermittent fasting is the biggest thing right now, but it works for some people, not others. And maybe it's a good way to kickstart a new plan, but it's hard to follow long term all the time. And I think that's the key, is find something that fits in. I mean, you know, I'm going to make something that fills you up all day long. I mean, this is something that I love for brunch. I even make it for dinner. You'd think that's a pancake with, you know, maybe potato. No, we're using cauliflower rice. You can buy that anywhere that's already riced. You don't have to do it yourself.
Yep.
And I'm just going to bind it with an egg so there's no carbs. And what you talked about just now was saying about sugar's so bad. You know, have sugar maybe when it's in fruit, but if you have low carb, that eliminates sugar anyway. So it's quite easy to follow that way.
And good fats is a big deal because we talk about the fact that non-fat turns out that a lot of non-fat things are not so good for you at all.
Yes.
The good fats are really, really a big part of it because it is about filling yourself up with those good fats, right?
You know, my first book was on low fat, and I remember that's how I lost weight. You know, I actually lost 65 pounds 30 years ago. So that's how I got into this. That's how I got into food. That's why I wrote the books. That's how I really did everything I've done in my career. But the thing is, that kind of worked for me. But low fat's not a terrible thing if you find things that are naturally low fat. It's where we found things that they changed it, like those cakes that used to be low fat and loaded with sugar. You can still things like, you know, non-fat Greek yogurt, and those things are good for you still. Right, so I'm making the pancake, and you're just going to microwave the rice for about 2 minutes, let it cool, and that's going to allow you to bind the egg without it kind of cooking. And then we're going to cook it with a little bit of oil, and it's get nice and brown.
And avocado oil, olive oil, try to stay away from the
sesame oil. Yeah, most of those, and also just use less of it. Just because it's a good oil doesn't mean you can have openness to all of it, because you still got to kind of count that a little. The avocado is going to fill you up. It really does. So I've got a nice half an avocado there. I've got some smoked salmon. Now you can actually sear some salmon and cook it that way. And we'll just load this up, however hungry you are.
Oh, that looks really great.
Well, it's all about, you know, what's going to fill you up. You see, you know, you've heard the term empty calories. That's what you get from a bagel. That's what you get from bread. And that's going to give you a quick spike in sugar, but it's not going to fill you up for the day. So let's get some really good food in there and have it taste good. Edamame, now that's actually not on paleo or keto, but again, it's what works for you and what you can have that kind of fits your lifestyle. I do eat a lot of edamame. I like it. So again, it's the kind of balance that works. And then we've poached an egg. So this is just...
All right, we're going to flip that baby.
Yeah, flip that over. Let's all start together.
Yeah.
Pop it on. Oh, we've got to put a little bit of colour on there as well, some chopped chives, and make it look good. Spend a bit of time. That poached egg's going to be beautiful, part of the dressing.
That's fabulous.
That goes on there.
And you just put a tiny bit of vinegar in the water, right, to poach it?
I did, and then if you don't like the taste of vinegar, just put it in some warm water and it just takes it all off.
Oh, okay.
So
the egg and the warm water.
Exactly, if you don't like the taste of vinegar.
All right, well, thank you, Daniel. We're going to have you stick around. We'll try this in just a few minutes. We have links to all of Daniel's social channels and also the website, along with this breakfast recipe they shared with us this morning. Thank you so much on care11.com.